We are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports. We hope that you're making it a good one. We know that we are as well. We got a great show in store for you tonight. Look, I'm going to try to keep tempers down. I'm going to try and attempt to keep tempers down, but no promises. AYS fans, no promises whatsoever that a Ruffino's Rants is not right around the corner. So do us a favor, hit the like and hit the share and share into some groups, as every LSU fan is not going to want to miss this, because I'm about to go on a tangent. Yes, I know that Maction is on right now. Stephen Miller. I don't even know if Stephen Miller is in this thing, y'all. But if he is, I know he's watching him some action. There he is. DJ Landry is like the 2019 LSU football team, undefeated in the GOAT, because the first comment, as always, guys, boom shakalaka. The man is like Joe Burrow when it comes to the comments of being first on AYS. Undefeated. Everyone joining the show, we appreciate you. But listen, be prepared. And does this go for LSU fans? Yes. Does this go for more LSU media? Hell, as Stone Cold Steve Austin would say, oh, hell yeah. Because it's about to go down. Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com. Guys, if you have not subscribed to TigerBait.com, I wholeheartedly think that you should go to TigerBait.com and hit your subscription. If you do the promo code AYS30, you will get 30 days for $1. And there goes my camera. There goes my camera. Of course, as soon as we go live, there goes my camera, and we are back. You got to be careful with the technical difficulties now, y'all. You got to be careful. But Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com will join us at 7:20. A lot we need to get into with him. Derek Davis Jr., the number 2 safety after the number 1 safety in the nation, committed to the LSU Fighting Tigers, will be joining us at 7:20. Also, I did not talk about it yesterday, but the LSU basketball team got snubbed from the top 25. What is the realistic goal for them going into the season? We will get into that as well. But guys, as always, don't forget about our good friends over at GM Varnado & Sons. GM Varnado & Sons has faithfully been serving your Denham Springs and Baton Rouge area for over 62 years. With their highly trained technicians, there's absolutely nothing that they can't do. Motorhome chassis, drivetrain repair, tire sales, tire rotations, nothing is too big or too small over at GM. Any automotive repair that you need is not big or too small for them. Go see them today at 2500 Florida Boulevard in Denham Springs, Louisiana. Give them a call at 225-664-9992. That's 225-664-9992. And tell them Blake Ruffino over at AYS sent you. And if that car's a little too beat up, go see our good friend, Mr. Woody Clark, over at Robertson's Brothers Ford Lincoln. Guys, I've been telling you this, and my man has been absolutely slinging the deals all across the state of Louisiana. The number 1 Ford car salesman. If you're looking for a new ride and you're looking for that Ford Lincoln, go give my man a call today at 225-603-5432. That's 225-603-5432. And tell him Blake Ruffino over at AYS sent you. Okay, guys, listen. Before I know it's going to happen. It's going to happen. So I'm going to need you to do me a favor and hit the like and retweet if you're on YouTube or on Twitter, Periscope. And if you're on Facebook, you're going to have to hit the like and share, because I'm about to go on a rant, a very big time rant. Now, this is not targeted for majority of LSU fans, because I get where they're coming from with this. Now, if you didn't see, today and yesterday, we talked about the LSU game versus Alabama to be postponed, and I didn't want to get a whole deep dive into that game because of the simple fact that I had a very good feeling that it was going to be postponed. Valil, my man, look at them traps, ball. Look at them traps. My man's swole, y'all. My man is swole. Stephen Miller says we got an iPad rolling, laptop rolling, TV rolling, and AYS on the phone, says Stephen Miller. We appreciate it. Before we get into the rant, Derek's saved by the COVID. And I agree with him to an extent. And here's where I agree, and I'm not going to get all over LSU fans. So to all 76 of you, this is not on LSU fans. Because, look, we know that if LSU were to play Alabama this weekend, it possibly may not have gone the way that we wanted it to. Like, we're there, right? Like, we know, just based off what we've seen on the field, we know that, yeah, the game might not go LSU's way. And that's okay. That is okay. That's not what I'm here for. So I'm going to get to your comments in just a second. I'm going to get to the comments in just a second, so bear with me. Here's where I'm about to tee off on the hashtag Rufino's rant. And if you're just joining us and you haven't been watching us on the 134 episode ride, stay tuned for this Rufino's rant. I cannot stand for the life of me that when you say one thing and you say, oh, well, LSU shouldn't play at all, and you're a media member and you cover the team and you say, well, you know what, guys, we would just go out there and get our asses embarrassed anyway. Maybe so. But then when you have someone from LSU's football team come on your damn show and you say, oh, well, Coach, it's going to be all breezy. Coach, you're looking good. Don't be a phony. You got a platform, use it. You talk about Big J journalism. Well, you're not journalism. You're not doing crap with that Big J journalism. You know what you're saying? Oh, well, guys, we suck. And you know what? When presented with someone who comes on our show, we're not going to say anything to them, and we're going to coddle that ass. You want to talk about championship teams. You want to talk about championship culture. I know you never won one. I understand that. And I know it's hard for you to understand what a champion's supposed to look like and a championship team and a championship culture. Because two states over, Nick Saban's doing it. So you don't want to bring your happy ass out on the field? Then stop being a fan. Stop. Because you know what's more embarrassing than anything else is you saying, oh, guys, well, let's not play. And showing absolutely no pride. So here's another thing. If you want to also talk about the players not having pride, well, then you need to show pride and saying that they need to go out there and play. Let me state this very clearly. I am not upset one bit that because of COVID-19, LSU's not playing. That's not what I'm saying, y'all. That is not by any stretch of the imagination what I'm saying. Because you only have one scholarship quarterback. You don't have tight ends, any scholarship tight ends on your roster that's going to be active for this game. You don't have a long snapper. The list goes on and on. Let me make that very, very, very clear. Very clear that I understand what's going on. But if you want to talk about Nick Saban, if you want to talk about players having no pride and no fight, maybe they shouldn't listen to your damn show. Because that, in and of itself, just blows my mind. That you can say, let's not go play Alabama because it's going to be embarrassing. And when you also say, oh, well, it's at Bama week, does it really even matter? Well, did it matter last year? Did it matter the year before? Did it yet matter the year before? Spoiled little fans. Spoiled. No, you know what? They're not even fans. They're front runners. You can get mad about me doing this. And it's not just one person. Tommy, I see your comment. I'm not talking about one person, but or two people or three people. I've heard this all for the last 2 days. At 4:00 today, this was not my number one topic for tonight. But you know what? As I'm going to show you, these notes had to be altered. There is nothing in this world that makes me more upset when you call out a player about having fight or having no fight there, I should say. But then you come back and say, maybe we just shouldn't freaking play. Well, let me just throw this out there. You bitched and you moaned and you complained and you got in a hissy fit and you moaned all season about Miles Brennan not having experience because he sat behind Danny Etling, because he sat behind Joe Burrow. And now when it's his time, he doesn't have the experience, but you don't want these guys to go out there and play because you don't want to get embarrassed. You have a golfer at the Masters, I forget the guy's name, who's an Alabama grad, going out there and says, well, LSU probably is not going to play this weekend against Alabama. Good for them because they're going to get beat by 70. That should piss you off. All 89 of you, it should piss you off. Is that not what I just said? And reiterating, Stephen Miller's right. You can't talk about game experience and saying, well, you know what, man? We don't need to go play anyway. Guys, have you ever heard the term of a wolf pack? You have your alpha and you have your beta. It's a beta move. You want to be an alpha dog? You want to be Alabama? You want to be the tier? You want to be the chalky five, as Bill King, who so greatly talks about it? You want to be in that top five? Then go out there and play the game when you're able to. COVID aside, they were saying that before COVID. This even happened last week. They were saying, does it really even matter? You have to have a mindset of a champion because Nick Saban, Dabo Swinney, Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones, hell, the fighting damn Irish of Notre Dame don't have that mindset. Ohio State doesn't have that mindset. You know who else doesn't have that mindset? And you talk so gloriously about him today? Drew Brees. Either get on the bandwagon or jump off of that son of a gun because there's no room for you. None. Zero, zilch, nada. You have a large platform, use it. Instead of spouting out and then having LSU administration run to your beck and call and saying, hey, everything looks hunky-dory. And then you're saying that the problem with LSU is that they have no fight. This is not, I don't have any ill will whatsoever to, let me make this also clear because I know what's about to happen and I know the text I'm about to probably get. I know the messages I'm probably about to get. I held absolutely zero ill will for anybody who has that opinion. Your opinion is your opinion, and I can't change that. But what I can change, and with all 87 of us can do right now on this live stream, is have a culture mindset shift. Hey, dog, that don't fly at LSU. Hey, dog, that don't fly here. And if you wanted to fly, then get out. Nothing in this world makes me more upset. Because I've been in situations, 2006, when we're at a semifinal game, bases loaded, 2 outs, dribbler back up the middle, and we're playing baseball, and we make an errant throw, and guess what? The team that we were going to play the next night upset a team that should have won it, and we knew that we were the best team in the state, and we didn't win a state championship that year. I knew what it took to get there because I was there at the 6 a.m. workouts. I was there at the 5:30 runs before workouts because I didn't want to do it after school. And I'm sure a lot of you who are watching a sports podcast would do the same exact thing. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. Derek on Facebook Live says canceling it is a meow mindset, Blake. Canceling it, look, guys, and let me just say this because them postponing and canceling because of coronavirus, look, I get and understand. I'm not saying that LSU needs to play this weekend. That's not what I'm saying. But when you have a sense of relief that LSU is not playing this Saturday, regardless of what the score is, it's a beta move, man. It's a beta move. It's not what this culture, it's not what this right here, LSU is built on. You didn't do that in 2003. You didn't do that in 2007. Ask Jacob Hester what his mindset was winning a natty. Ask Joe Burrow what his mindset was last year. Because Joe Burrow made the conscious decision, dog, that doesn't fly here. Hey, Joe Burrow would have never allowed that to happen. So the best player that you've ever seen, walk through those doors in Baton Rouge, if he wouldn't let it fly, why should any of us allow it to? Getting into some of the comments. Because, yes, I get a little passionate. Stephen Miller says, Amanda Baker, they'll reshuffle the whole week back end of the SEC and get all the games in full. Look for a full slate of SEC games, the 12th to the 19th. Yep, Stephen, I agree. Look, that's what we're hearing, okay, is that's a possibility. So they're going to play the game anyway. LSU's already in those conversations. Scott Woodward's in those meetings with Greg Sankey saying, hey, guys, you're going to play the game. Oh, and by the way, you're going to play the damn game anyway. So the prolonged butt whooping that you think you're going to get is going to happen anyway. Sam Bacon says, where my dogs at? They ain't Baton Rouge. They're fat and comfortable. Like a king sitting on his throne and like it's Game of Thrones. Fat and comfortable. Getting LSU walking out there on the field and getting their butt kicked does not make me happy. Does it make, please tell me in the comments, does it make any of you happy? Does LSU getting beat by 37, the worst that they've ever gotten beat, make you happy? Oh, well, Blake, it doesn't make it any better to get upset. Well, somebody's going to go out here and somebody's got to get on their platform and show the damn fight and show that damn dog. All right. We have Mike Scarborough coming up. I went on my rant. All right, Mike Scarborough is coming up. I'll get to your comments at the end of the show. We'll scroll back up and get to all of them. Scroll back up. But before we get to that, guys, go check out my good friend, Mr. John Patton over at Area Home Lending. With all the help from the Federal Reserve, it has pushed mortgage rates down to the lowest that they've ever been. Yes, the lowest that they've ever been. If you're considering buying a new home or saving money on that mortgage that you have now, call Mr. John Patton. With over 15 years of experience, I know that there's absolutely no one, and I mean no one, that will take better care of you than Mr. John Patton. 225-663-2500. That's 225-663-2500. Tell him Blake Ruffino over at AYS sent you. All right, let's get Mr. Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com on the show with us. If you have a question for Mike, hit us with the hashtag Ask Mike as well. So I'll put that right here in the comments.
Oh,
Mr. Mike Scarborough.
what's happening?
Oh, man, I just went on a little Ruffino's rant. You know, got my blood pressure rolling, but it's okay because we're better for talking to you, my friend.
Is there something called a Ruffino snooze? Do you ever start the show off on a light note?
Yeah. Sometimes. Mike,
Okay.
Do you think that I need to start off with a Ruffino snooze and just be mellow and be chill and then kind of just go the whole show being mellow and chill?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bizarro world Ruffino.
Maybe it's 2020, Mike. Maybe 2020 just got me all up in my feelings. I don't know. But Mike, anyway.
Do you show from Colorado and maybe it'll be different?
Or Oregon. I mean, who really knows? I mean, depending on how that things goes out there, you know how that is. Well, Mike, we had some big news this week. I mean, look, I guess regardless of where you look, Derek Davis, the number 2 safety in the nation, commits to the LSU Tigers, which, look, and Mike, we talked about this, and I know you talked about it on your show last week. It kind of caught some LSU fans off guard. What did you think there? Were you a little surprised?
I was surprised because, he was coming in and when we first started talking about him coming in for that unofficial visit on his own dime with LSU being out of town at Auburn while he was, touring the campus on his own. It was right after Langwad committed. Sage Ryan then, of course, announces he's going to, announce to LSU. And then when he comes for the visit, while he's there, Sage Ryan commits to LSU. And so you're looking at LSU's class, and they've got 3 safeties, along with Kari G. So you're like, okay, will they actually take a 4th?
Mm-hmm.
And it was more or less like not discounting how good Davis's visit was to Baton Rouge and looking at the LSU campus. It was just a numbers thing.
Mm-hmm.
We've already been talking about how the numbers are tight and trying to get everybody in. So, no, it's just another big feather in Bill Bush's cap. I mean, I absolutely say that he's the best recruiter on LSU staff, and I'm sticking with it.
Mike, that's heavy praise, and I agree with you there. And listen, I mean, it just seems like every single year he's turning out a high-level recruit. Joe Burrow. I mean, regardless of where it is. Now, Mike, let me ask you, what he goes and gets another guy is in the recruiting world and maybe in the coaching circuit. Is Bill Bush considered maybe a top 5 recruiter in all of the nation?
It's kind of like a stealth thing with him. I know when he got hired, I reached out to a Nebraska buddy of mine who runs one of the biggest Nebraska sites in the world, covers the Cornhusker for years. And he was just going on and on about Bill Bush's ability to go out and find talent and reel them in from out of state. And, I'm trying to, who's the big tight end that they got that LSU was in on a few months ago from Iowa, Fedone.
Yeah, Fedone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, they were nervous up there because Bush was involved with him because they saw what Bill Bush would bring to them. Of course, we all know, you don't have that the best season in the history of LSU football and the best history of college football without Bill Bush and getting Joe Burrow. He was what got him to there. So, no, he's and I'm trying to remember the safeties' names that he had gotten to Lincoln that would ended up being high round draft picks from Arizona. And if you notice, Bush still recruits Arizona and those western states very hard. I mean, he's everywhere. Missouri, Pennsylvania, Ohio. I mean, wherever there's players, he's going to find them. I mean, this time last year we were talking about Ali Gay, and should LSU cut him loose because he was the lowest rated guy in the class, and about this time having a numbers crunch. Well, look how good he's turned out to be, and he's got a high ceiling, and how good might he be in another year, and being that raw prospect. I think he's got a lower. Well, that's another Bill Bush guy. Well, him and Christian Locatour.
Well, and a hell of a recruiting process too. I mean, look, I read Brody Miller. I think it was Brody Miller's article in reference to that because of the religious factor and him and his family feeling comfortable. I mean, look, that he just feels such. Look, and I don't know how to really say this, but him not going to Baylor felt good from a recruiting aspect. But Mike, we have a question in Facebook Live that asks, well, if him and Bo Pelini don't turn it around, even though he is a high-level recruiter, could you see some shakeup happening? Because I know that Ed's mentioned it and kind of talked about it a little bit in his last few press conferences.
I just don't see there being a shakeup. One, from a dollars and cents standpoint, and now you're about to possibly have the Alabama game go from postponed to where would you fit it in? What does that do to the? You're already over $8 million in the hole. Well, at the end of the college football season, when CBS and ESPN ante up for what they owe the SEC, that's taken out of the pot. That LSU Alabama game, if it doesn't end up getting played, So how do you go out and get rid of Bo Pelini and buy him out when you're laying off people and getting high dollar coaches to take pay cuts and everything else that you've got to do, and begging TAF guys to, if you opted out, do you still want to donate your ticket revenue?
Right.
I just don't. I don't see that happening, and I'm not seeing any drop off in recruiting because of the type of season LSU's having. It's just a weird year. I mean, Clemson goes and loses to Notre Dame. I think now from here on out, I think the only thing LSU fans want to see is get some guys healthy, get through the year, get some newcomers healthy, and then just hope that you don't end up seeing Alabama winning another national championship. You'll end up being okay.
Oh, I'm with you there, and God bless.
I think that's the only thing that can make the season kind of okay is if the Crimson Tide don't get another national championship.
I'm with you. Mike. I mean, yeah, basically,
another Auburn kick six would be nice.
It would be very nice. Chris Davis, another Chris Davis-like kick six would be absolutely fantastic. Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com is our guest. You can catch all of his stuff on TigerBait.com, as you see right here in the overlay. Mike, it's something that a lot of people, and I know that you talked about it a lot, and I know you talked about it a lot on this show, but Mike, I'm going to be a little honest here. I'm a little surprised that this recruiting class to date has kind of stayed together, actually gotten better. Is the 2019 season, I guess, is that still having that big of an impact for this recruiting class when it's only getting better, and might only get better moving forward down the road with guys like Mason Smith and others?
Look, I mean, nobody likes seeing LSU, listening to your show, like seeing LSU get their butt kicked. But those kids see opportunities. They see, man, boy, they're going to need safety help, or they need defensive line help. Man, they need offensive line help. I mean, that's what they're seeing. They're not seeing that a program's on the brink. And I mean, this year just is what it is. I know people can't stand hearing that, or and look, I'm not making excuses for the team. I mean, there's been some incidences with, at Auburn, guys joking around on the sideline, and sometimes you're not seeing coaches, light in the players like you think they should. It's just, there's a little bit of all that to go around, but the overriding factor is Jims and Joes. And, when you look at the starting lineups, particularly on the defensive side of the ball and on the offensive line where it really matters, where are your first and second team all this SEC selections? After last year, you own those lists and you own all the national awards. That's what the NFL draft did to you. That's what the guys going pro early and the free agent signees did. The COVID opt-outs and some transfers really leaving you thin. I mean, it's just been a absolute perfect storm. On top of that, you're installing a new defense, and your new defensive coordinator doesn't get a full spring to try and install it. You can do all the iPad teaching you want to do, but there's nothing to replace that actual on the field instruction, which they did. I mean, they got some extended time in July, but that's not the same.
No, it's not. Certainly is not. We have a question right here, Mike, on Facebook Live from Holden Lee, which I think is really good. He says, #Ask Mike, are you hearing anything about juniors that may skip the draft and come back and stay next year? I know that Ed talked about guys like a Liam Shanahan. Who are some others that you think that they're going to really target?
That was one thing that I was on the phone with Brian Lazar about this weekend, and that's why we rolled out a big feature yesterday morning. You can still find slotted, I think, number 2 or 3 on the front page of Tiger Bait, where we went position by position as to what LSU is going to have returning. Knowing Terrace Marshall and others are going to go pro. And going each position, which are the guys that are the absolute pinnacle of Ed Orgeron on the stats list to recruit on the current roster to convince to take that extra free year. I mean, I don't think you're going to convince a Jabril Cox, but what if you can convince an Austin Deculus and a Liam Shanahan to come back?
Right.
I don't think you can expect an Ed Ingram to, after what he dealt with legally, unfortunately, and that whole thing. He's probably, figuring he's done his time and time to roll the dice and see where he's going to get drafted and make some money. But there's a lot of guys, as much as I'm discounting Glenn Logan and Neil Farrell, boy, you sure could use some upperclassmen that have experience and can play.
I know, Mike. I know. And look, if you look at Alabama's just rosters over the last 13 years, they've had some of the oldest rosters in the SEC over that time frame, and it's a lot of just getting these, middle round guys in the NFL to come back. And yes, they get a couple of first rounders, but a couple of them coming back, Mike.
We can talk about Jaquelin Roy and what we think he's going to be a year or two from now, and Jacoby and Guillory and Mason Smith as a freshman. And I'm excited about Savion Jones. I think he's underrated and might be one of my top 2 favorite guys in this current class right now for LSU from St. James. Landon Jackson should be 100% off of his injury, what I'm told. So you're going to need some of these freshmen in these 2021 class to be guys next year. But at the same time, there's no discounting what it would mean to you just from a depth standpoint and having those guys that are older like Farrell and Logan to return. Ali Gay, again, what kind of guy is he going to be a year from now? Getting the instruction from Bill Johnson and Locouture and Orgeron and that whole thing. I mean, it's the sky's the limit for him, I think. And then BJ Ojolari, another year under his belt. You're not worried about having to recruit him. He's only a freshman, but he is a freshman. He needs to get bigger, but I just think that there's a lot to be said for the free year and taking advantage of it. It's particularly when you're self-imposing 8 scholarship reductions on you, but you're also so far under the 85 cap. You really need to recruit your roster in a big way, especially if not knowing what the NCAA is going to do with that legislation about the APR. You got to recruit some guys that are actually very good students because you need to get that grade point average in the program's got to get up. All those guys going pro early in such big numbers absolutely has crushed LSU on the APR.
Well, and I know
which I think that rule is absolutely stupid, but it's there.
That's what I was about to say, Mike, just how crazy that rule is and why a guy like a Liam Shanahan could be so big, not just on the field, but off the field, too. We have a question from Stephen Miller.
I don't know. What is he doing for his classes right now? He's working on his master's or
Yes. From what I understand, he's working on his master's in some kind of astrology something, or I can't remember.
Well, maybe they can talk him into a free doctorate.
Hey, and look, they have a lot of things they could do for him.
I mean, who knows? We don't know if Liam's gotten down here and fallen in love with the food. Maybe he's got a new Cajun girlfriend. There could be lots of factors that make it easier for Ed Orgeron to convince him to stay another year.
Hey, if if it makes him block better, we'll find him somebody. Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com is our guest. Stephen Miller asked, I know that you're big on Savion Jones, but hashtag Ask Mike, how high are you on the Nuss bus and Garrett Nussmeier? Oop. Mike, did we lose you? Did we lose Mike Scarborough? Mike, you there? Okay, we'll hang up and give him a call right back. I was really interested to hear what he's got to say about the Nuss bus. So we'll try to get Mike reconnected here. Getting a couple more of your comments. Let's see.
Hello?
Hey, Mike. Sorry, the call dropped. But
That's
yeah.
Okay. Is that on mine or yours?
Probably on mine, being out here in the boonies.
That's all right.
But the question was from Stephen Miller is what's your take, or what do you see from a guy in the quarterback of Garrett Nussmeier coming into this class?
Well, and that's I guess one of the downside is Nussmeier and even Walker Howard behind him. They're like, okay, yeah, that 3 years is great for them, but now you're creating a log jam for us.
Right.
When those guys are making decisions, they're calculating, okay, Brendan's got this much time. Finley and Max are new, but one of them will end up winning the second job, and the other one might transfer out. And now they all start to stack up, and Nussmeier will be there at midterm. We'll see how that plays out.
Well, look, I don't know how that's going to play out, but I'm sure. I mean, what I can tell you is, Mike, is I feel like somebody's going to leave, right? I mean,
yeah, you're not going to have 4 scholarship quarterbacks there and someone not see the writing on the wall after next spring.
Be interesting. And look, Mike, and you might be like me, but I thought Ed has done really well at kind of juggling the quarterback controversies, if you will, in the past. I know that Lowell Narcisse transferred, Justin McMillan, 2 left-handed quarterbacks, believe it or not.
Well, and look, it's one of the deals too, where it's like, it's not like the old days where, a quarterback was, maybe you're kind of pushing the brink when it's the third year where they finally get their shot. But now all these quarterbacks come right out of high school, having run, similar offenses for 3 or 4 years, wherever they were coming from. And they expect to play in year 2.
Right.
And if Preston a duty in year 1, so be it. It's not like the old days where when Jimbo was under Saban and under Miles early on, where, a lot of times his quarterback didn't seem to perform worth a darn until their third year.
Right. Well, and that's always the interesting thing, Mike, is how are they going to juggle all of this kind of stuff? Mike, a couple more questions. We'll get you out of here. Something that I was interested in, and look, I don't want to, I guess I'm learning, but don't really want to kind of put you on the spot. But a lot of questions we always get about recruiting is about how they're going to finish the class. Now, I personally think that they need to go get maybe another offensive lineman and or 2. Everyone knows that Tristan Lee is a guy that they're targeting. Is there another offensive lineman out there that they're really high on and want to try to go get?
I have Savion Byrd from Duncanville, Texas in the probable category.
Okay.
So I think you add Lee and Byrd to Dellinger, and but then Orgeron keeps mentioning a grad transfer or a JUCO kid. Now, is that on top of those 3? And do we start to get an idea? Right before Christmas when the dust is settled and they're sitting there with so many signees, and you got a pretty good idea what's left for January, whether they're going to try and hold one back for a grad transfer, or maybe is there a JUCO guy that they would have all 4 of them done, next month. Mm-hmm. But, or is it a deal where if they know by then, hey, Decula says he's coming back, and Shanahan says he's coming back, so we can get away with 3. And then next year for 22, you got Emory Jones and Will Campbell at Neville, 2 all-world guys right in state that are leaning your way. And then from there, you can go out of state and get a couple more. So you're halfway there for next year. So I think a lot of it depends on who they can get to return. And then you start talking about the rest of the way: Mason Smith, Corey Foreman, Brian Thomas. Still hearing stuff about a couple other positions. Still pursuing a running back. Are they necessarily done at tight end? I think there's going to be some interesting movement there that we're chasing down.
Oh, wow.
News.
Well, Mike, that would give them – I mean, and look, with Jack Besh, a lot of people think that he might be like that Thaddeus Moss kind of role, and then you have the other tight end in Shed. Can you shed any light there of what they're – not who they're going, but I guess what they're thinking? Because that's something that I definitely have not heard.
Well, look, before the kid from Tampa, I'm drawing a blank now, that ended up at USC, that they were Trigg, the 2 sports star, Michael Trigg.
Right.
At that time they were looking at a second tight end. You got Jalen Sheed on the list right now. But is there a possibility of a second one there? And then what is Sheed's academic situation? A second running back. But can you get away with not taking a second running back when you got Le'Veon Moss at Estruma and Trevor Etienne over at Jennings, who looks absolutely fantastic? I'm telling you, man, I got a lot of friends in Southwest Louisiana, and a lot of them in the Jennings area. And I'm telling you, multiple of them are saying that they think Trevor is going to be a better back than Travis.
Oh, wow. Well, look,
he's different. He's different than Travis.
Yeah.
He's different than Travis in that he's a bigger guy. He's probably 212 to 215 pounds right now.
Mike, I was about to say that he is tough to bring down, man. I mean, look, and look, I don't know if you're LSU, if you want to miss on another ETN right now. Like, I don't think you want to do that. But that's just
and look, I'm not. Trevor and his mom might get upset with me, but I wouldn't trade LSU's spot with Trevor Etienne right now. I know a lot of people, try to think just because Travis is at Clemson, and LSU messed up there, but this is a whole other regime. And Orgeron and Falk have done a fantastic job, and I'm hearing some stuff where the kid wants possibly it being a deal where he's seeing what it costs and what it takes to for the family to get out to South Carolina to see his brother play, and maybe he wants to make it easier this go round.
So, Mike, one last question. We'll get you out of here. Derek asked on Facebook Live that I'm going to add a little bit to it. Mike, if you had to put 4 teams in the playoff right now, who would you do so? Or who would they be?
Man, I hate Notre Dame. I don't think they should ever belong anywhere near that. So hopefully someone can get them.
Well, Mike,
what are you going to do?
If they're in the conference, since they're in a conference right now, do you think that that's helped them? I mean, obviously knocking off the number 1 team, but do you like them being in a conference and playing a conference schedule like they are this year?
I do. I think this, and maybe this will be an impetus for them to finally do it. But I think it would go a long way for a lot of us that love college football to lose some of that hate from them and their whole, we don't need a conference thing.
Yeah.
We, a lot of us were hoping before they worked that deal that they'd have to suffer and rot on the vine.
Right.
But no, we'll see, man. I still, Clemson's going to get the benefit of the doubt. When it comes down to it, Alabama certainly will be there, and still, is there a chance that Florida, if they win out, what do you do with them? Could this absolutely be a year where you've got 2 SEC teams in there? I picked Florida all off season, and I still will never buy into Georgia. I just don't think Kirby Smart's got it. I don't care. I don't care how well he recruits.
Yeah, he's like the Les Miles of Georgia, in my opinion.
I mean, other than a championship game appearance, he's still got a little bit of Mark Richt in him.
I agree. He's Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com. Mike, I know that they've seen it all over the overlay, but tell them one more time where they can catch all of your awesome stuff and the AYS code that they can get at checkout.
Yeah, there you go. I keep that thing alive. So AYS 30. Normally our 7-day free trial period for $1. It's 7 days. For $1, you can get it for 30 days if you use the code AYS 30. And TigerBait.com. Of course, we're on Facebook as well, at Scarborough Mike on Twitter. So check us out. We'd love to have some of your audience.
Awesome, Mike. Killer as always, man. We'll talk again soon. Thanks, brother.
All right, man. Talk soon. Thanks.
All right. That is Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com. Guys, we're going to end the show in just a second. We got one more segment, but before we get to that, do us a favor and hit the like and hit the share for all of you that are just joining in. I will take a phone call. I saw Alex, I believe. Was it Alex on Twitter? Because Thomas on Twitter. Thomas, who called in the other night, says that he's going to be calling in shortly. Well, you can go right on ahead and do so, my man, if you want to. But we will end the show if you call in after that phone call. But before we get to anything, and I mean before we get to anything, go see the number one real estate firm in all of the North Shore at your home team. Guys, 985-467-7355. They have absolutely all the listings in the North Shore. Team.kw.com. That's team.kw.com. Go see all their listings too on Facebook or Instagram at Your Home Team LA. Get in touch with one of their great real estate agents right now. Click on their website and to get in touch with one of them, or you can make a call tomorrow morning. All right, got a couple of questions here, and Vic, I'm sorry I missed it. He says, hashtag ask Mike, ask about Savion Byrd and how many decommits do we see this year. We'll have him back next week, and we'll definitely talk about that. Lamar Williams, what's up, Lamar? He says, bring the pro combat uniforms back. I agree with that, actually. I actually like that. Stephen Miller says, Craig Schilling, they pulling off the San Diego unis tonight. Okay. I like it. Guys, before we get out of here, I want to talk about this. LSU basketball got snubbed in the top 25. I know that we always talk about in football of the, what's the word I'm looking for here? The chalky, as Bill King would say, and which I'll be on with Bill King tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock on WNSR talking the Tigers. But basketball's got to be more chalky than football, right? If you really think about it, it's always the same cast of characters. Now, I know that it's the same with football, but every now and then, every year, hey, who would have thought that Texas A&M would be number 5 this year? Because I sure as hell didn't. I sure as hell thought Kellen Mond was a Rudy Poo. But LSU did get the most votes outside of the top 25, which would technically make them the 26th team in the nation. I want to say this, and I want to get this on record as much as I can before the season starts. Guys, if the LSU Fighting Tigers, basketball-wise, gets to a Sweet 16, if they just get to it, that will be exactly where they need to be. Do I think that they can go more? Yes. But I feel like if they drop anything less than a Sweet 16, now barring injuries and barring, God forbid, something happen with Will Wade, although I don't believe that there will be, then the Sweet 16's got to be the minimum goal. You got to be contending for the SEC championship this year. But I'm going to throw this out there, and I talked about this, and we've talked about this a lot on this show, about the hunger and the fight and the want to. Man, I see it in Will Wade right now. Man, do I see it in Will Wade right now. On the basketball court, they are absolutely, and off the basketball court, they're recruiting well. They have fantastic talent. They have length. They have shooters. They have guys that can penetrate. They have guys that can score in the paint. They got guys that can score in the wing and be great mid-range shooters. They got guys that can handle the ball and pass the ball really well. The question is going to come down to defense. So over the last couple of seasons, Will Wade's defenses have really, really struggled, y'all. Really, really struggled. And why I think that they got snubbed a little bit because of the lack of just absolute crap that we've seen from them on the defensive side. Jamie Fortenberry says, and I'm missing it right here, Jamie, why are we not in the top 10? Well, I did see one poll that had them in the top 15. And Jamie, I really believe, really believe it's because of what's happened over the last 2 years and maybe some uncertainty with Will Wade. I think that that's the only reason why. But from a talent aspect, there's no reason why they should be out of the top 15. None. Alex King says, I put the Ruffino rant earlier in the top 3 of the 134 episodes. Well, I appreciate that. I would really be interested to know what number 1 is and number 2. Or, what's in that mix. I've had some moments. I've had some good ones. Yesterday I wasn't feeling good. The show was a little bit off. Came back energized and ready to go today. Derek says Will Wade does well this year. If Will Wade does good this year, I could see him taking a big time job, say in the ACC. Let me tell you something. And Derek, I could see that too. But I think the loyalty that LSU has shown Will Wade and maybe some stuff they got on my man, I think LSU can entice him to stay. Wink, wink, hint, hint. Or the pros. I don't think that LSU is going to allow him to take a college job. I don't see that. I would see him pulling going into the NBA before he did anything else. But here's another thing too, y'all. He's a long way away from that. I mean, you got Brad Stevens, who was at Butler, had to get to 2 Final Fours before he got his shot. I would think that teams would want to see him actually win and perform a lot better too. David, I saw your message earlier, man. Hadn't had a chance to read it. He says, the D's some nights play good for stretches, but some nights they're garbage. Yeah, do you remember that Vanderbilt game when Scottie Pippen's son had like 38 or something crazy like that, and they were shooting the ball? They couldn't miss anything to save their life. Craig Schilling says, Dickie V told the polls to rank LSU low. Clown emoji. I would believe that. Cade says, why is LSU the greatest place on earth when it comes to Tiger Stadium, the Death Dome, and Alex Box? Why is there no comparisons? I don't know. It's a good question. Not sure. Maybe because, really and truly, the PMAC doesn't always get packed out until they're doing good. Guys, we got to remember, before Will Wade, they weren't that good. They weren't good at all, and people didn't want to go. They were tired of it. But now I think that they will. Oh, no, we got the resources. Yeah, we got resources. Believe me, especially that Shaquille O'Neal's son's on the team, another guy that we haven't talked much about, that I think that we will as soon as he's cleared and all of that stuff. You think that if his son's there and they're winning, that he's not going to push and persuade Will Wade to stay? You best believe it. Stephen Miller says, Jamie, Bulls just converted on a 4th and 1 now on the goal line, and it looks like they scored. Touchdown Bulls, the max in action, says Stephen Miller on Facebook Live. Johnny Jones was garbage, says David. Yeah, he was bad, man. Bad. Good player, horrible coach. All right, guys, well, we're going to go ahead and get out here. I asked for all of your prayers. My son Ben is having a little operation tomorrow. Got to get tubes in his ears and his adenoids taken out. So all of you praying people, are people who maybe not just want to think about him. I would appreciate it if you guys thought about me, Megan, and especially Ben tomorrow as he's going into the procedure. Don't forget that you can catch us tomorrow morning on with the King, Bill King, on WNSR. We will share the link in here tomorrow morning at around 7. So if you got any questions for the King of college football, you can ask him on Facebook Live and Twitter. But guys, my name is Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports. Y'all have a good night.